All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about the Widi Bud Pro from CME. This is a USB dongle, which you see right here plugged in, and it will act as a Bluetooth for the device. And I showed you in the previous video how you could use the Bluetooth in and out here, which is fine. It does take up more space using this particular one because you got them both plugged in. However, the Bluetooth here with the USB actually works really good, and it's a lot better in my opinion than having to buy cables and have all that extra stuff. So I'm going to show you how to set it up. It's pretty simple. First, we're going to go to settings. You're going to look at the input under the MIDI tab. So click on MIDI and then your input. It should be Widi Bud Pro MIDI 1. And then if you go to MIDI 2, same thing. You want to make sure it's on the Widi Bud Pro MIDI 1. Now, you don't have to use the input and the output. You could just use the output if you want. The reason why I'm using both is so that I can be able to send stuff back here if I want to use tonality or scalar from the iPad, right? I can send those chords back into here, and then in turn it'll play on there. There's an example of me doing it real quick. But let's finish setting it up so I can show you. So you want to click on the mixer here. And the mixer usually will say volume pan sends. So this button, if you hit it again, you have a second set of menus. This is your mix and then the track output. So you see this blue corresponding one represents that top one. So click it and now you have the inputs and outputs. If this is set to, if this center portion with usually on your inputs is always set to all channels. So you're fine. You don't have to go down and manually put the Widi Bud in if you don't want to. You could. But I just leave it on all channels. I think that's the best way to put it. On the output, that's where you'll have to set it. So usually it's set to no output. So you'll need to turn that to Widi Bud Pro. So once you get that set, it's set on channel 1. You know where it's set at. Cool. You can go back to your track. And this is just a MIDI track. It's nothing on it. In fact, you see it says no device. But once you do that, now you have to set up the iPad, right? So I'm not gonna get out of AU. I'm just gonna show you MidiMittr is my choice that I use. There are some other ones, but I find this one works the best. So if you click on it, usually it'll show yours down here, and it'll say offline or it'll generally say rather I'm disconnected. Just press it, it'll connect. As soon as it connects, turn the sources and destination on so that you have both, right? And that's all you have to do with that one time, and then you can set up a channel. Here's the channel in AUM. And you can select Widi Bud Pro as the channel. So now that is playing there. However, when you want to go to the pads here and send these to it, you will need to make sure that is going to the input of the device. So in the output rather, of the device. So you want to send the output to Widi Bud Pro. Do not send the input, it will mess up. So the output should go. What you're doing is you're playing it here. It's sending it out to the push 3, right? And then back into the instrument that you're using. So now I can use this. And you could, if your hands are small, like or big or whatever, then just maximize the screen. So now you have that going, and you can start recording in. Now, so the way that works is, as soon as I decide to stop it here, the way that works is you probably want to see the clip. I imagine you do. So if you want to see the clip, you need to be in the clip view here. That's this little screen, looks like a TV with a plus in it. That's your clip view, or this is the clip view of all the clips. This is the actual clip itself. So I like to play into the clip so I can see the actual notes going through. So that's if you want to play, but one of these intricate chords that maybe you don't have the hands for it on here because it requires like and you don't know it, then you can use this for your chords and use this for your melody. So let's just play some chords and we'll start it. Remember, don't forget to set the BPM. You do not have to set the BPM in AUM. I do, but you don't have to. I mean, that's just habits. I have it set to 86. We'll play something in. Let's play some chords. 2, 3. So there you go. And now you have chords. And it's going to play back because you already set it up. See? And it's in a loop. And now you could go in and start doing drums. So now here's the kicker. You could have this going and do drums inside of here, right? You could have your drums going and this could still go. But as long as the iPad is open, you'll hear the sound. As soon as you close the iPad or disconnect it, this is just some MIDI notes on a line, right? So you got to have this to control it. However, with the drums, if you do it internally or your bass line, like if I turn on my bass here, let me do that right now. And I turn on my bass over here, make sure they connect, which looks like they did. Because I'm using an actual instrument and a bass, I can record in it. So I can. I don't even remember what I played. I'm not going to do that, but I just wanted to show you because that sounds terrible. All right. So that's my point, is that you could do analog here with your actual instrument too, like I'm doing. And then you could have your drums internally into the push 3 and do them from there. The other option would be, in my mind, and I don't know, I think this might be possible. I have to figure out if I can route an audio track to where I can play. Let's say I play a clip, but I want to bounce it. You can do it. I just don't know if it's on the version I have, where you can record something like that. And then I think you can bounce it. I think you can bounce it down to an audio track. And then it'll be in here as an audio track. So you keep the MIDI too, but you just have the audio track to represent the actual stuff. So that's possible too. I'm not sure how that works in relation to this with the iPad though, because it's not connected and there's no audio in via, well, you could, I guess you could send something through here to connect it. That'd probably be the way you do it to get the audio. Because right now, when you see this, it's just it's just MIDI notes that's controlling the iPad. But like I was saying on the drums, so you could do, let's load this jazz kit that's built into here. Don't sound as good as I was. Oh, let me try this set here. All right, so Nothing special, but you know. So now you have, that's your mixer. So now you have your drums, your bass here. Let me let you see the clips. Right? There's your keys. So that's a quick way, and this is super more sleek than having a bunch of wires hanging off the back. So to me, this little guy is A1. If you want to use the iPad and use this standalone, make sure you know that I'm using the standalone and not the regular controller. You won't get all this with the regular controller. You can still do this, but you can't really do this. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't gonna have the screen here. You're pretty much gonna have, this is not gonna be lit up. It's just gonna be pads, and you can play with them and use it. It's real generic, like when you do it that way. But with the standalone, that's one of the perks, I guess, is being able to have, you know, stuff like this. Now you can plug in a USB-C. You can still use the Widi Bud Pro if you want to do that, to do Ableton and just MIDI everything into Ableton that way with the controller. That means you don't have to use the USB-C. You get my drift? Because MidiMittr works on the MacBook. I know it works on the MacBook, and I know it works on the iPad and on the iPhone. So you could do your iPhone, iPad, and your MacBook using this one device. And you use MidiMittr is the app, right? MidiMittr is free. Just get the app, and then you can plug that in and do all this. Is completely would become a controller for you at that point. You could use it. That's if you just want to use the controller version. The problem is, though, you have to still find a way to power this thing. And that's where the USB-C comes in for those that don't have the standalone. If you have the standalone, you have the battery in there. So the battery, I wish they would make it where you could order the parts. Let's say like you didn't want the standalone, but you still want the battery. That would be cool if they make it where you could just order the battery and be like, I'm just gonna get the battery right now, and I'll put that in just so I could use it without having to power it, if that makes sense. So that would be kind of cool. I think that would be actually worthy too if you could get it, because I don't think the standalone powers without the I'm pretty confident it doesn't power without a power bank. So you're gonna need a power bank for the not standalone, the regular version controller. I'm saying what I don't mean by mistake. All right, cool. So there's what I was gonna show you. Again, Widi Bud Pro, CME. It's a worthy buy. Catch it on sale on Amazon or wherever you get it from. And then, you know, find yourself a deal. Maybe find a used one if somebody's selling one. And to me, it's worth it, because now I just eliminated cables. I got 2 dongles back here, but they're easy to plug out, pull out, plug in, whatever. And by the way, this uses the power of the device. So you have to have power, some power going to it. Even if it's the battery, it's going to run on the battery. So just be conscious of that. There you go. All right, guys. Hope you had a good one. Good weekend. Tomorrow starts back the day called work. For some of y'all might be at work by the time you see this. So, yep, have a good one. I'm out.